Welcome to Unit 4.3. In this unit, we're going to learn how to use calculated fields in pivot tables, as well as, if you make changes in your data, how you update your report. Sometimes you're wanting to count and add or use, maybe in this example, we're going to say, what is the average annual package, the highest and the lowest? So we're not only calculating one thing, we're calculating a few things. So let's go insert pivot table, again, from the A to the O. New worksheet. Let's change to tabular in design. Report layout, tabular. I'm going to look at the average, max and min of the annual package. So I'm going to drag my annual package in 3 times into the values area. The first one, I'm going to click on the arrow, field settings, and make it average. The second one, max. And the last one, min. So I'm calculating more than one thing, and as you can see in the report, we have average, max, and min. We also have headings here. And so the minute you add more than one thing in values, you get this heading in columns called values. Now, I didn't put that there, it was just there. If you only have one thing that you're calculating, obviously values doesn't appear because you don't need headings. In this particular case, let's just change this again to max, and the next one to min. I prefer, personally, my headings to be in rows. So I'm going to drag values over there, and I'm going to put race in, and my department in above values. Why do I say above values? Because if values was first, it would calculate all the areas as average, and then all the areas within max, which it's not really showing me anything there. So I'm going to pull department in front of it. So here I'm looking at what is the average annual package for somebody in that area and that race. What's the highest in that area and what's the lowest in that area. Sometimes you'd maybe wanted to say something more meaningful here. So I would just to tidy it up and neaten it up, would prefer it to just say average only. As you enter, it changes all of them. Highest, enter, lowest, enter. You can see it just neatens it up a little bit. And also remember to comma your numbers and switch the blank off. And there we've got a report that would take a really long time if you didn't know pivot tables. Now what happens is sometimes you pick up that there's an error in your spreadsheet, and you always change from the source. In other words, you can't change it on the report. You have to change it in the source data. So let's make a change in our departments. Let's put a training department. Okay, so we've made a few changes. Let's go back to our report. You can see there is no training department here. It is not like a formula that just automatically updates. So what you need to do is you need to right-click and click on refresh. And what that does, you'll see, is there's now a training area over there. Refresh just refreshes the reports. The nice thing is if you had 7 reports relating to that database, you'd only need to refresh in one, and it would refresh in all of them. So it's a really nice quick shortcut. What I sometimes recommend is that you set up your reports and use it as a template from month to month. In other words, this I would save as October month, for example. Then the next month I would put in my new data over my old database, go and right click on one of the reports and refresh, provided that the data comes in exactly the same in terms of the columns. So in other words, if department is in column 4, it needs to stay in column 4. The length doesn't matter, because as you know, in that first step we highlight from the A right across. So if the length is longer or shorter, that doesn't matter. But if the columns do need to stay the same, and then you just right click in the one report and refresh and save it as November, for example. When December comes, open November, put your new data in, right click on one of the reports, refresh, and of course it's going to pick up that new data from the from your new database sheet and refresh all the reports that relate to it. So, that would really be something consider. If you do a lot of reports, you should consider doing that. It's a lot quicker than redoing the same reports month in and month out. So just to recap, we put 3 things in values, which means you get value headings in column, and we pulled it into row. We also learned how to right-click and refresh.